First off, a reminder to all my fellow Americans, Congress comes back into session next Tuesday, and there's a lot on the agenda, from the TPP to the Iran deal. And there's plenty of brewing in the activist world, so be sure to check our Facebook and Twitter feeds to stay up to date, as we can't always fit every tantalizing tidbit into the show. But here are a few tidbits that we can fit. First up, as I mentioned in last week's show, next Tuesday, September 8th, will be Code Pink's Hands Across the Capitol in support of the Iran deal event in D.C. You actually hear one of their events in the background right now. The event will consist of an action outside of Congress as a direct response to the flood of money and pro-war lobbyists that will be flowing through the halls of the Capitol next week. Code Pink will also be unveiling the Peace Insurrection Encampment, which will stay erected outside of Congress until September 17th. When Congress must reach a decision on the Iran deal. More information on that awesomeness can be found on Facebook via searching for the event name or visiting their Facebook page at facebook.com/CodePinkAlert. Next up, let's talk school-to-prison pipeline. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that term, the ACLU defines it as a disturbing national trend wherein children are funneled out of public schools and into the juvenile and criminal justice systems. Many of these children have learning disabilities or histories of poverty, abuse, or neglect, and would benefit greatly from additional educational and counseling services. Instead, they're isolated, punished, and pushed out. In other words, or as I would put it, our racist, classist, fucked up system takes kids and shoves them into prisons, choosing to spend money on their chains rather than their brains. So, in Boston on September 10th, the Center for Church and Prison Incorporated, an organization that works to combat incarceration and recidivism, via relationships with community leaders, religious and non-religious organizations, and offers a bevy of facts and educational information on its site. They will be hosting a conference on ending mass incarceration and the school-to-prison pipeline titled Mass Educate, Don't Mass Incarcerate. It'll be a 2-day conference focused on advocacy, educational campaigns, and direct intervention. For more information on that, check out churchandprison.org. And for more info on the school-to-prison pipeline, take a screenshot of this and just let these horrendous facts bore into your mind till they find the switch to activate. Moving on, from September 8th through September 25th, Beyond Extreme Energy, you may remember their work from a previous episode, will be back at FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, to take a stand against this horrendously corrupt government agency handing out new permits for fracking like condoms at a pride parade, but way less cool. Because instead of fucking, they're fracking, that most odious practice of drilling into the ground, injecting millions and millions of gallons of fresh water mixed with hundreds of chemicals, blasting through mountaintops, causing earthquakes, and the subsequent release of these horrendously poisonous chemicals into, the air and the water. Groundwater supplies poisoned, cancer rates rise, otherwise beautiful mountain areas become wastelands of chemical runoff. The clean alternative to oil. By the way, check out that site, dangersoffracking.com, a brilliant graphic representation of what fracking is and what it does. So, back to BXC and FERC. Well, FERC has been the minion of the fracking industry since day one. And despite continued efforts by BXC and other groups, their rubber stamping process for the fracking industry has not ceased or lessened. So, BXC is kicking it up a notch. One hell of a notch, actually. They're going to fast. They're going to fast and occupy the space outside of FERC for those 17 days until September 25th, the day that the Pope is scheduled to speak to the United Nations on climate change. The day before, on September 24th, the Pope is scheduled to address Congress. And on September 24th, BXC will participate in a large rally on the Mall, organized by Moral Action for Climate Justice. BXC also has several more climate change support actions planned throughout the time of the fast as well, including, but not limited to, Grandparents' Climate Action Day, September 9th and 10th, the Global Catholic Climate Movement, which will also be fasting in McPherson Square, September 14th through 23rd, and Rising Tides Flood the System campaign that has ongoing actions planned throughout the fall, leading up to the climate talks in Paris in December. Now, I don't remember a damn thing unless I write it down, and I know that's a lot to take in. So, take a look at this next slide to see all of this written out. And you know me, I will probably end up repeating it like the Jewish mother that I am. Before we cut to that slide, let me leave you with this message from BXC. We are undertaking the fast in September to show our support for the call of Pope Francis for urgent action to move away from coal, oil, and gas, and to a renewables and energy efficiency-based economy, which respects and protects our natural environment and the people. We welcome solidarity fasts in frontline communities fighting gas infrastructure expansion, at offices of relevant public officials or members of Congress, at the offices of energy companies, or at fracking, pipeline, compressor station, storage terminal, or LNG export sites. We encourage families, schools, faith communities, and civic organizations to organize rolling fasts among their members during this time period of September 8th through 25th, whereby each person may only fast for a day or two, but together their group's voices are added to the call for radical change at FERC. You can get more information on this action and others at their site, beyondextremeenergy.org, and email actions@beyondextremeenergy.org, or fill out the online form to join in solidarity and or in fasting.